Hey everyone, welcome to the Dram Amateur Podcast, your go-to show for everything bourbon, whiskey, rum, tequila, mezcal, and beyond. I'm your host, Jason. Join me as I journey and explore the world of alcoholic spirits. Let's get started. All right, welcome back to the Dram Amateur Podcast. My name is Jason. Thank you guys all so much for joining today. If you do not already follow me or interact with me, you can find me on Instagram under Dram_Amateur. I also have a Facebook. I also have an X account, and I have a Threads account too, where you can find me at the Dram Amateur Podcast when you search there. All right, I am pretty excited because I am not recording alone today, which, as many of you know, is something that I don't want to say I hate doing, but it becomes more and more difficult as time goes on. I'm going to do a little introduction. With me today, she's a force of nature. She's a beacon of hope. She's the murder podcast queen of all murder podcast queens. That's just because she listens to them and she's trying to find different ways to murder me in her life. She's pretty. Aww. She has a great smile. And she's amazing. And she deals with me. I wanted to introduce my wife, Liz, to the podcast. Liz, welcome to the Dram Amateur Podcast.
What's going on, guys?
Wow, this is a first.
I know.
I mean, I thought I would have you on my podcast more often, but it takes some convincing to do.
Well, I'm not as into the spirit life as you are into, except for, all things spooky and murder podcasty.
Yeah, murder podcasty.
Way different spectrum of spirits there.
So Liz listens to a shit ton more podcasts than I do. Mine is not one of them that she listens to at all.
I listen every once in a while.
Every 10 episodes.
Well, I listen to you edit it, so I get to hear the same cuts over and over again.
That's true. Liz, I can see the amount of eye rolls I get from Liz when I'm trying to on Buzzsprout, when I'm trying to create a little snippet that I have to then that I can post on Instagram. The amount of eye rolls I get from Liz when I'm doing that, because it's the same clip over and over and over again. They're pretty strong eye rolls.
But that's just because you're such a perfectionist. I'm like, oh my God, the last one was good. You're fine. Please stop.
But who else is a perfectionist too?
It's me.
Yeah, exactly.
I know.
Exactly.
I know.
So Liz is, I think the one thing that like Liz kind of brings to the table with this, at least from experience. You have more, I'm going to say this, you have more experience than I do at podcasting. I'm going to say why. Because you listen to more podcasts.
I listen to podcasts every day. I literally have a list of podcasts that I go through. They tell me which ones have new episodes, because I work from home and if I'm not on a meeting, it's not like, I'm sort of a behind the scenes person, so I'm not dealing with, customers or anything like that. So unless I'm on a conference call or something, I really don't have anything to do other than, chip away at my emails and, tasks and things at work. So might as well throw a podcast on to listen to in the background.
Might as well. Makes the day go by fast. So how many murder and true crime podcasts do you honestly listen to? Oh God, you're not even
consistently
answering.
Or
that scares me even more, because there's probably 50.
No, there's probably 4 good ones that kind of post every week that I go back to. But every once in a while, there'll be a special about a specific topic.
Okay.
Or a specific murder that maybe intrigues me, that I hear a clip on a different podcast, and then I jump over and listen to that one, and then I come back to my regulars.
So the question is, have you figured out how you're going to murder me yet?
Oh, I've got so many ways. They would never find your body.
To all my friends out there, help. These are my silent cries for help.
He's kidding, of course.
So where I listen to, I don't know, 3 or 4 podcasts, maybe 5. You listen to probably 10 to 15, if not more than that, right?
And not all of them are true crime.
No, I know. You listen to other
I do radio. There's a radio show that here in Atlanta that I listen to. I don't catch them on the actual radio, so I do the podcast playback. So because I don't drive anywhere anymore.
Yep. So that's fun. So Liz is joining me today because I asked her to come on because I wanted something different content-wise, and I need to practice this. This is actually like practice for me too. I really like having guests on. I know you. So actually, let me take a step back. Liz hates doing podcasts.
I don't hate doing podcasts. I don't like not having a plan going into a podcast because I feel like I don't have so much. That's what I'm saying is like sometimes it'll be like last minute, like, oh, come on my podcast. And I'm like, but what am I going to talk about? What's the topic? What are the bullet points that we're going to hit? Like I need like an outline. And when I don't have that, I feel a little bit lost. So it's not that I don't like doing them. I just don't like being unprepared for them because I feel like I'm going to go way off topic.
So a year and 3 months ago, Liz and I started a podcast that I think, to be honest with you, if we would have kept doing it, I think would have been crazy, wildly successful. But definitely like... I
mean, maybe we'll revisit. Who
maybe.
knows?
I know. And that's what I'm saying. Like, I want you to just go ahead and have fun today. There's no pressure. I have the whole plan. Me and ChatGPT put a whole plan together last night. My best buddy.
See?
That's my best buddy. But yeah, I mean, Liz, so just a little bit, I won't say very much about it, but Liz and I recorded and we released 1 or 2 podcasts.
Like episodes, yeah.
I think we did. And the feedback on Liz's voice and our back and forth was actually really, really good. Like somebody said that you definitely have a voice for this.
Aww.
So like, yeah, and you're definitely the softer tone of me, and we balance each other.
Well, that's because you're from the north.
I know,
and you're loud. You're a loud masshole, and I'm just a girl.
Yeah. Oh gosh, just a girl thing. But we balance each other out. So we recorded a couple episodes, and we had a lot of good feedback from it, but I think you just weren't in the space to want to do it. And I think that's fair, right?
I don't think I was in the mindset. There was a lot going on with work and things like that. So I think it was just a lot like where I just wanted to chill on the weekends. Literally the last thing I wanted to do at that point was a podcast.
Yeah. And Liz was like, I don't want to plan one. I don't want to run an Instagram account for one. I don't want to do this. And that's fine. We all have seasons of life.
Yep.
That we all do. So, or that we all have impact us in different ways. So completely fair, but I'm really happy to have you on. Like I'm like excited to have you here.
Well, I'm your
guinea pig.
Well, not only your guinea pig, but your hunting buddy.
Oh yes. So nice segue. Oh my, see, do you see why she brings so much value already to the podcast? So we're gonna talk about me and ChatGPT put together a lot of questions, and my goal today is to try to practice this because I want to have guests on, right? And I want to have like thought-inspiring questions, like all of those things.
Oh, I gotta use my brain. Okay.
You're gonna have to use your brain. But yes, you are my hunting buddy. So as a hunting buddy, it's a good start, right? So when we say hunting buddy, not like deer hunting, rabbit hunting, squirrel hunting, turkey hunting, whatever, you're my liquor hunting buddy. Mm-hmm. And it started as bourbon and then went to rum and now tequila and mezcal and everything else. But yeah, so like you're my hunting buddy. Like we have quite a bit of fun going around and hunting. If you were, how would you describe and summarize from your lens, right? Because I want to hear from you, because you just sit there in the car and deal with me driving all over the place. I've done some stupid things, pulling into parking lots when I shouldn't be doing traffic-wise and everything. We've had some interesting times together, right?
Have you talked about the guy who died on the corner?
Oh, God, no, we didn't talk about that. That's going to be another teaser. You see, we got teasers in the podcast episode. I did not talk about that.
We've seen some stuff.
We've seen some things. Yeah. But what do you like about it so much? Like why? And you never say no.
Yeah, because, well, number one, obviously you're my best friend and I love hanging out with you.
Do you see how awesome she is?
And it's just fun. Like, it's fun to learn things from you though, because me going into a liquor store, I'd be like, oh yeah, that one with the fancy label or the cool shape of the bottle. Let's get that one. And you're like, no, that's how they get you. That's going to be a terrible bottle.
Don't ever buy that bottle for me.
He's like, don't go for the gimmicks. I'd be like, I'd be bringing home so many gimmicky crap that he would be so disappointed.
Just like my early days.
So I do learn a bit like that kind of stuff. Like typically, and I think once you know what you like in bourbon or in whatever spirit you're drinking, then you kind of go back to that same brand and see what's new there. So, yeah, I learned quite a bit from you.
That's cool. Yeah. What else do you like about it?
I like that I get to stop at random antique stores along the way.
Yes, I do. I try to split the time up. So like we're going up to Chattanooga next weekend, and Chattanooga is a big hunting area for me. And purposely next weekend, I like, instead of doing antiquing, we're going to go for a massage. So I purposely like planned a massage day in between on a Saturday. So
yeah, we're going up for a concert, and before that we'll do the massage, hit all our favorite spots to eat. So
guys, it's a give and take. So she gives and allows me to go hunt and do all this stuff hobby wise, and to give back. I guess give and take, give and give. Does it mean give and give?
You let me get out at different random.
We go to antique stores, or we go have massages or whatever. So, yeah. I mean, I like antique stores. Agreed, but I like antique stores anyways too. So it's fun.
Yeah, we found some cool things.
Oh God, yeah.
Because around this time last year, we were getting our built-ins downstairs in the living room built.
Yeah.
So now we have some shelves we got to fill up with some cool items. So. It's a win-win situation.
And Chattanooga's our home away from home.
That's right.
Yep.
I love it.
Yep. So, okay. So you like learning, right? What's the one thing you don't like about our hunting excursions?
I mean, every once in a while we'll go to like a really seedy one. And that's
but those are more fun though. I mean, think about the stories and the things that we've learned from that.
That was the one where the guy died on the corner.
Okay, that's a different podcast.
I know.
Stop teasing it.
I think I start getting burned out like more towards the end. Like in the beginning, I'm like, oh yeah, sure, I'll go in with you into the store and we'll look around and I'll help try to find some stuff. And then by the end, I'm like, no, I'm just gonna sit here in the car and look at my phone.
Either that, or she'll walk into a store with me. And she'll hang out for a while, and I'll be talking to whoever the guy is, or whoever the owner is, or the person working. And you're like, all right, I'm gonna go wait in the car because you're just burnt out of me talking.
He's a talker, y'all.
Yeah, and stuff like that. Well, when there's so many things to talk about, how can I not be?
I know.
How can I not be?
I don't fault you for it.
No, I appreciate that. So, and then what's the question you always ask when you are out in the car and I come back? What'd you buy?
What'd you buy?
What'd you get?
What'd you get? Anything cool?
So let me ask your next question, and I have a whole bunch of them here, and I'm not going to ask you all of them, but what's your favorite drink? Like, what's your favorite, not cocktail, but like out of everything I have that you've had?
Drink straight?
Yeah. I mean, you try. So I'll say one thing. Liz she does not like, I shouldn't say it like that. Liz does not have a palate yet.
I don't have an experienced palate,
and that's fine, right? But like even like a lower proof pour sometimes to you like gets you right, but she will try everything, which I really appreciate. We've tried a lot. I mean, we've tried a lot in stores. I even have
a little baby Glencairn.
You do have a little baby Glencairn. So she tries a lot with me. She tries things in stores. If we go to distilleries, you try a lot, and you try a lot of the stuff I bring home too. Not everything, obviously. Like I know you're not going to like mezcal, but you try the tequilas, you've tried rums, you've tried a lot of the bourbons.
Like you know that if it's going to be too burny for me, that you won't even ask. But I think the ones that like I would try and be okay with. But are you asking like what my favorite spirit
that's where we're
is?
Going. Gosh, Are you going to run the podcast for me now?
Sure.
No. What's your favorite spirit? So of everything that I have, what's your favorite?
As far as what type or the brand or?
Yeah, just what if you were to have one, like if I were to give you like, hey, you want to pour right now, what won't you choose?
Probably a Great House 2020.
So Liz is a sucker for Hampton Great House 2020.
Yeah.
Big time.
Yeah.
Big time.
It's just got that, multi-flavor, take you on a journey type.
But the funny thing about that is it's high proof. It's like 58% alcohol ABV.
That's probably the only high proof one that I'm into.
And it's funky as hell. And that's the thing that I laugh about that. And that's why I always ask that question, because she knows the answer. But because every time I pour it, she's like, can I have a small pour? But she loves it.
It smells so good.
I know, but it's so weird though.
It's
so unique and funky and like oaky. And like, I'm really surprised. Out of everything I have, I'm really surprised like that's the one you like the most.
It's so good though.
I know. Favorite mixed drink? Favorite cocktail? We're going to keep it rolling. trying to keep it interesting.
It's going to have to be like a raspberry lemon drop martini.
Okay. Second favorite.
Any kind of margarita.
Yeah, she's a margarita girl.
Love it.
She likes her raspberry lemon drops.
Give me salt, sugar, or tahini on the rim. I don't even care.
Yep. And then I wouldn't say you just learned, but the other day, what'd you do that you were like surprised about?
Oh, I like made it from scratch with like the Cointreau and agave syrup and
tequila
and just limes.
Yep.
And I was surprised that it was good.
And good tequila makes a difference in your margaritas, doesn't it?
It really does.
Dear listeners, stop drinking crappy tequila. Buy good tequila. Tequila Ocho, Siete Leguas in our margaritas 100%. Are the two.
It really does make a difference. Like if you go and have a margarita at a restaurant and then you come home and make one, it's a completely different experience.
And you can tell when like you get one that's shitty made at a restaurant compared to one you make at home too.
Oh yeah,
or just a handmade one. I should just say just a handmade one. And what's the difference? What's the difference when you make it? What was the one thing you said the other night when you made yours that you were questioning it when you first made it? Do you remember? The color?
Oh yeah, like it wasn't like the typical margarita color, like even like a regular, margarita on the rocks green, that you get. Yeah, exactly.
There's no sour mix in it.
Because there's no mix, and a lot of times when you go to a restaurant, number one, they're using crappy tequila, and number two, they're using all mixer.
Yep.
So it's not as good.
Yep.
And usually it's too sweet. It almost like I could only have one before I'm like, all right, this is going to give me a headache.
The margaritas because of the mix. Yeah.
It's too sweet.
Agreed. Yeah, agreed. So Liz knows how to make a good margarita now. Lime, agave syrup, Cointreau. I never know how to say that. And then good tequila. That's it.
Yeah.
And tahini on the rim. You're a tahini. If you were to choose one, there's another good question. You're a 3. Really?
It depends.
Why does it depend?
I feel like it depends on the flavor of the margarita. So like.
Oh, so if you want a fruity margarita.
If it's like mango or like passion fruit or something like kind of off the wall like that. If it's very tropical, like I feel like the tahini kind of balances it out.
Okay.
But if it's like a normal regular margarita, I like salt.
Oh, okay. See, I learn something new every day. Let's see. We've already asked several of these questions already. Do you have a favorite memory, like a favorite trip that we took with hunting or distillery visiting or anything like that? Do you have a favorite memory from all the times we spent together doing this stuff?
Yeah, I think probably our first, because we've been to Jack Daniel's a few times, but our very first one, I felt like, number one, the tour was off the chain. Like
that was the coolest tour.
Really good tour guide.
The tour every time's the same, but like that day, they spent more time with us that day.
I feel like the second time we went, it was a little more rushed through.
It felt like
there was also, it was a bigger group. I feel like the first one we went on, I feel like we were a smaller group. And just the person who was running the tour just took a lot more time to talk about the history and like, and they do, hit on history when we went back too, but it wasn't really as in depth. Like, I just feel like the first person had a lot of knowledge, like maybe they'd been doing it a while and, enjoyed doing that. And I'm not saying the second person didn't, it just felt a little more rushed. Like we were rushed through a little quicker, but,
we've been to Jack Daniel's 3 times now? Twice?
I've been twice. I think you've
I've been 3 or 4 now.
4 times, yeah.
Yeah.
So, because we went with my parents too, didn't we?
No, not yet. I don't think so. Oh, yeah, we did. We went to Lodge and we did all that stuff. Yeah, we did. And with the first one that we went to, that was the old tasting room where we were in that like when you're walking up to the welcome center, it used to be it's off to the right hand side that part of the welcome center, and now it's all where did you go to in the Rick House? Did you do the one in the Rick House with the glass and everything like that?
I think that's the one we did with my parents.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
I don't know if it's changed since then because even that was like over 5 years ago.
Yeah, but we went when Greg and I went a year or 2 ago. Like it was the Rick House. Yeah, I think that's going to be their tasting room for. Oh, they've got 2 or 3 in there because when we were tasting, there was another one off to like the corner or something like that. So there's like 2 or 3 tasting rooms, but because of the way they have it set up, where it's all glass, you just feel like you're immersed in it and you don't see anything else except what's around you.
Yeah.
So. Okay, so you're a Jack Daniel's memories. It's cool, right? And you know my love for Jack, so.
Yep, I sure do.
That's cool. Let's see. Here's a really good one. Here's a thought-provoking one about our relationship when it comes to this. So what's one aspect of our relationship that you think has evolved the most since we first met in doing this? So like in doing hunting and doing things like together and all the trips that we've done, if you think about like all the different pieces of that, and there's been a lot. There's day trips, there's weekend trips, there's distillery trips, there's hunting trips, there's everything. There's trips where we just go together and I go find stuff, when we have spare time. What do you think the biggest evolution of our relationship has been?
Probably, learning to compromise, because, you'll want to go and do all this stuff. And it's not that I don't want to do that. It's just, it's not my hobby. So like, I like to try to find things like, okay, well, if we do this, then how about we, go do this thing that I want to do while we're there. So I think probably compromising on where to split time if we're visiting a specific city or, town or whatever. I kind of try to see what's around there that maybe I would like to do too. Mm-hmm. So, and of course you never say no because you spoil me.
Oh yeah. You could see her smile right now when she said that. That's funny. So with everything that we do as far as like going and drinking, like what's another thing that you appreciate when we travel that we always try to do together that I think we both connect with as well as with, so when we go travel, right, and we go try things, we always try to do something.
We usually try to find like a place that we've never eaten before. And like, cause we're kind of big foodies.
Yep.
So we like to try to see, what's the happening spot around town.
Yep.
And if we haven't tried it before, try to do that. Like there's a new place in Chattanooga we want to try that just opened earlier this year or last year.
I think so. Or earlier this year, I think. Yeah.
That's owned by some of the same people of restaurants that we already like to enjoy when we go there. So we're like, oh, there's a new spot. We got to try it.
Yep.
So I think we bond over being foodies too.
Yep. And I mean, so tell the story about our one favorite, well, I wouldn't say our one favorite, but our most favorite lunch spot, like how that came to be.
Oh, so there's a place in Chattanooga called Main Street Meats.
Yep.
And it's like not only a butcher shop, like a meat store, but it's a restaurant as well. And I was planning, which I am not the one who normally plans our trips, but I was like kind of planning our day that day. And I had come across this Instagram and I was like, all right, this place looks kind of cool. Like they have a lot of good like bourbons on the wall. Like, maybe we'll check this out and see if it's decent. And we went there for the first time and we're just absolutely blown away. Yep. And every time we go back to Chattanooga, we end up going there for lunch.
Lunch
at
and
least
pours.
One day.
Lunch and pours. Yep. I remember we were in like Eastridge, Tennessee hunting. And I remember telling you like we were going to like from Eastridge to Chattanooga Wine and Spirits. So like if you've ever been to Chattanooga, Eastridge is on the east side of Chattanooga and you can drive. As you go toward Chattanooga, you hit other stores. So we were in Eastridge hunting, and I remember we were going to Chattanooga Wine and Spirits, which was like halfway into Chattanooga and then into Chattanooga. And I told you, I was like, just find a lunch spot. Like, I don't care. And you're like, oh my gosh, I hate this. I remember like you were like.
Because I do not plan things. Like, I don't plan things very well. Like, you're the planner. You're the one who like makes sure that things are.
But some of our best moments have been on a whim.
That's true. But like it seems like all the things that I planned always like go south real quick.
I don't think so.
Remember your birthday trip with the train?
That's a whole nother podcast for another day.
We almost died.
Liz is scarred from a birthday trip.
I was so mad. And then I took you down to Columbus for.
That wasn't a bad trip.
It wasn't a bad trip, but no. I didn't really do enough research to stay on like the good side of town.
It's fine. We lived.
We survived.
We survived. But yeah, so that day I told her, I think I challenged you and you were mad. Like you weren't mad, but you were like, I hate doing this. I'm like, just pick somewhere. And then you were like, I remember you like found the Instagram account and you're like, oh, this looks really good. And I'm like, what is it? You're like, Main Street Meats. And she's like, there's pours and all this other stuff. And we went and we sat at the bar. And we try to sit at the bar every time because we sat at a table last time because it was busy. And the bar is a different experience. It is. Yeah. It's a better experience. And they have some pretty crazy. They had some old. I think they've gone through some of the older bottles they had. But when we first went there,
he was like a kid in a candy store.
Yeah, there was a lot
on the wall.
Yeah, there was a lot.
And then I think the owner was there that day too. And
That's
and him
where
got
I tried
into
Lucille the first time
a conversation.
too. Yep,
And he was like, and there was a reminisce or something that you tried.
Oh, the reminisce Gatsby, like the original, like the original Gatsby, which was really. Oh no, the Vol. No, the not the Gatsby. The Vol. The Vol something or something. Volstead. The Volstead, which is an older bottle. Yeah, there was an older bottle of Bardstown there as well. The Distiller one, which is I think it was an orange barrel finish or like an orange curacao barrel finish too. There's been a lot.
And then we found out that they have the absolute best burger
and the beef tallow
ever
fries
put in your mouth. Like it's ridiculous.
It really is. It really is. So it's funny. Like she hates planning, she hates doing all these things, but she also knocked one out of the park. We're like, and now
I like to have a plan. I don't like to do the plan.
I know, but but you did a really good job with that because like literally now every time we go up, we always go to Main Street Meats. Yep. Always. And if we're bringing people like Jordan and I have gone to Main Street Meats, when Michael went up with BJ before, they went to Main Street Meats for lunch. So it's like, it's just like perfect. Like if you go hunt in the morning, right? You go hunt, you get there for noon when they open up, you sit at the bar, you have a couple pours and a burger and beef tallow fries. Come on, beef tallow fries are amazing.
They're delicious.
Have a burger and beef tallow fries, and then you have some pours, and then you go hunt the rest of the afternoon till you go to dinner. So
yeah, and
it's a lot of fun.
Even the one time I didn't get the burger, I got like
oh my gosh, that thing you got, yes,
with like the Gruyere cheese or whatever it's called. Yep. Oh my goodness,
Gruyere. Oh God, we're just not good at this stuff.
Yeah, I don't know. We're so uncultured.
No, but it's funny because like every time we go in, like I saw a post from them about the Reuben, and I'm like, God, I gotta have a Reuben. But you know what's gonna happen? I'm gonna get there next week, and I'm having a hamburger. Hell yeah, dude! It's the best damn hamburger I've ever had. Everything perfect about it. The meat, the bun, the toppings, like everything about it is freaking fantastic. It's absolutely amazing. So, well, that's cool. I'm glad you. I
found the place.
I'm glad you found that place. Yeah. Okay, so next question. So when I told you I was going to do a podcast, what was your first thought?
Oh, I was happy for you. I thought you'd be amazing at it. Yeah.
Were you?
Absolutely. Yep. Yeah.
And it's kind of evolved and changed and everything like that. I keep trying different things and stuff like that. And you've been helpful with like, she actually, the fun fact is Liz created my very first logo.
I did. The old one. That was a while ago.
That was a long while ago because like I started the Instagram account and started to do it, and then it evolved because I was trying to think of that's what it was. I was trying to come up with a name, so like Dramature, so like Dram Amateur, like throwing it all together, and then it's kind of evolved, and then so that was it for a while, and then I think I came to you and said, "Hey, I want to do a podcast," and it changed to the Dram Amateur Podcast.
Yeah, I mean, I always believed in you and thought that you would do great at a podcast. So, and you have a good podcast voice. So
that's what people say. That's what people say. So okay, next question. So with all the bottles that I have now,
oh Lord,
we got to get into some controversial questions. So I had to buy a what do you call it? Like a rack or a shelf?
Yes.
To put bottles on because before, do you remember what they were in before all my bottles? Do you remember way back when before they were on the shelf?
Like in the little trunk thing.
They were in those tubs.
The tub. I had
the tubs. Remember that?
Yes.
I had tubs. Those big heavy duty black and yellow Costco tubs. I had 4 or 5 of them with bottles in it, and I would just like.
And then you'd have to go get one, and there'd be one in like the bottom, and you'd have to like move them.
So I bought a shelf. I cleared out a section of the closet, and I put I found a shelf that would hold everything, not everything. But
I was gonna say they're not everything because there's still stuff on the floor.
So if you reflect on everything that's in that room, does it drive you crazy?
Only slightly, but I think that now that you've gotten to a place where you know what you like, you know which brands and which flavor notes and things like that, you're not purchasing as much as back in the day where, you weren't really sure if you would like it or not, but it was cool to have on the shelf.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like you're out of that phase and you're like, these are things that I'm actually going to drink. And it's not just cool to have on the shelf.
That's fair.
So, which, I mean, they are cool to have on the shelf, but it's not just because they're cool to have on the shelf. It's because you're going to actually drink them.
Or FOMO.
Yes. Yeah. There's no FOMO bottles anymore. They're all like legit things that, you know, you bring out, you know, when we have people over or whatever that are going to get drank eventually.
Yep. Yeah. And I think that's one of my biggest things. Like, so when I like think about, when I think about everything I have, and I think about one of the reasons why I like buying things and different things now with tequila and mezcal and rum, I think it's like you just said, like having people over. I like having people over, and like I want to try, like next time people come over, I want to try like to make different cocktails. Like I want to try to make daiquiris and try different things with everybody. I think that would be cool. But I think I like sharing it, right? So like when we go over Liz's parents' house for the holidays, right, I'll bring 6 or 7 bottles with us normally of different things and have everybody just partake. And there's nothing, I never look at a bottle and go, I'm not taking that because it's too expensive or anything like that. Like I literally bring, I literally bring everything. So it's pretty cool. I think that's why I have so much of it, you know, because I like to have a variety. But
I mean, there's still times where you come home and I'm like, oh Lord, he's got multiple bottles. What is happening?
I came home with how many the other day? 9?
Yeah. But it's not like...
But they're 9 you know that I wanted, and then I'm going to drink. It's not 9 that I've never seen before.
And you're very responsible. It's not like we're not going to, you know, pay a bill because you bought 9 bottles. Like, it's not like that. So I feel like, you know, some people get in trouble if they're like, should I buy this bottle or should I pay my cable bill?
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, they're like, that's not the good, right mentality to have when you're buying spirits.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. So when
please don't put off your bills to buy a bottle.
So I started with bourbon and then chased the rabbit hole to rum, tequila, and mezcal. What'd you think about all the changes to like me starting with bourbon, right? And I think you see where I'm at in my bourbon journey right now.
Well, and I feel like the evolution has kind of happened because that's the way it's kind of been with the spirits. Like, I mean, rum, you would just kind of use it for cocktails. Nobody was really sipping rum for a while, you know? And then like that got into, you know, aged rum and things like that. And then now, like you really, I don't feel like tequila and mezcal was like a thing until recently. And now you have all these, you know, old farms in Mexico and things like that are still doing it the traditional way. And that's what people want. And they don't want all the shitty additives and all the stuff that comes with, you know, like a Cuervo.
Yeah. She just threw Cuervo under the bus. I love it.
Sorry, Cuervo, but you're not it.
Do better, Cuervo. Yeah, but one of the, I mean, in all honesty, like the Jose Cuervo de la Familia I have, which is the extra añejo that I really like, that one's really good.
Yeah.
I really like that one. But yes, all other Cuervos just garbage.
Yep.
So I think the one thing I appreciate, and the one thing I think I learned early on too, was from buying all the bourbons I bought and then having some being completely disappointed and giving the bottles away to somebody that would appreciate it more than me. I think through that experience, and that trickled over to rum for a little bit too, because the very first bottle of rum I bought was Jordan's advice was to buy the Appleton Estate 21. That was the very first bottle of rum I ever bought. I found it in Dawsonville. Yeah, I found it in Dawsonville, and I remember Jordan saying, like, if you ever find one, buy that. And then we both tried it. Do you remember trying that for the first time that night?
It was absolutely
We were
delicious.
blown away. Like, blown away.
Delicious. That's probably second favorite as far as rum goes.
Oh, I don't blame you.
So Great House 2020, number 1, and then number 2 is the Appleton 21.
Yep. And then what I did was I went to Total Wine a few weeks later or whatever, and I had bought a Foursquare 2009. That's where I bought my first Foursquare. And then I bought like a Ron Centenario, and I bought a Diplomatica, I think.
Yeah, I like that one too.
No, yeah, but those were all additives. So those have additives in it, and that's where I started to
sweeter.
Exactly.
Because I don't like the burny ones. I like just the flavor bombs that aren't super burny.
And that's where I started changing, I think at that point I said to myself, I don't want to fall down another rabbit hole like this in buying, because it was so polarizing. So even with bourbon, the thing with me, I remember, and even now, right? I can try a bourbon and I can pick something out I like in it. There's very few bourbons I've ever had that I'm just like, that is absolute trash. Drain pour that thing and get rid of it. Never serve it. Yes, never serve it again. I do too. But with the rums, I had that Appleton Estate 21. I had the Foursquare 2009, and they're so vastly different than the Diplomatica or the Ron Centenario because of the additives in it. That's when I really started, I think, to change, right?
Well, and I think that's when sort of the game started to change for spirits too, is because like, you know, you almost have to step your game up with all of the different like competitors out there that you're going with. You have to create and make good product.
You have to know your place. You're either going to be a mixer or you're going to be something that
exactly, and
somebody's going to sip. Yeah.
But like if you're trying to compete with, you know, like like a Hampton or
very different,
vastly different. Like you really have to step your game up if you're in that game.
Yep. And that's why I think too, now I appreciate the love for food with everything that we're doing, because I get to try things first. So I'm very much I need to try it from somebody else. So from one of my friends trying it, right? Yep. Or go have at a restaurant. And that's one of the big reasons why I'm excited about dinner next week, because we're going to go to a different restaurant that we haven't been to before. And it's tequila and mezcal. Yep. And now I'm in this tequila and mezcal thing. And mezcal for me, so tequila, I understand, because so with bourbon, right, every different thing. Rum, I quickly found out there's a difference between additives and non-additives and stuff like that, right? And then tequila was very simple because there was the whole additive-free tequila list. So I could look and see what did true tequila taste like, and then I could try it and be like, this is what I like, and I'm never going to drink additive-free. But with mezcal, I have found that it's very, how do I say this? If it is... What I'm finding, and I may or may not be right or wrong, but if the production of the mezcal is managed by the CRT, which is the Mexican government, they have to follow certain distillation processes to consider it mezcal. So what
can't they not even put mezcal on it?
Correct. So Cinco Sentidos is destilado de agave, which is distillate of agave. They can't put mezcal on it because right, because they don't want to have to follow the processes that are governed by the CRT. So what I'm finding, and I have to prove this, and this is why I'm excited to eat there, and I think this is where my journey has kind of shifted a little bit, to try things before I just buy them and be disappointed by them, is because mezcal to me is so polarizing. I've had several mezcals that have the approval sticker from the CRT on them that are just all smoke and there's no flavor. That's fine, right? Like that, some people might like that, but I like the complexity of like the Cinco Sentidos and some of the other brands that I've had, where it's not produced by the processes that they govern them by. So it's very different. So I say all this because like my fun thing now is going to different restaurants, searching the list of all the pours that are on there and seeing if there's something I haven't had: bourbon, tequila, rum, and mezcal, right? Like anything. And trying something that I would have never bought a bottle of, or questioning bought a bottle of, and then trying it and going like, I need a bottle of that. Or confirming like, I absolutely like Cinco Sentidos. I just two of the bottles I bought 2 weeks ago were Cinco Sentidos that I haven't bought yet. I literally have 10 bottles of Cinco Sentidos. There's not one I don't like in any way, shape, and form. There's not one. So like, I almost want to just buy every Cinco Sentidos I can possibly get my hands on.
Well, and I think that's the thing, is when you are in, you know, the spirits game and like hunting for things, you have to take the time to learn those things and know, like, you know, the things about the Mexican government and like how some things can be mezcal and other things like they're not allowed to use mezcal on it, and all, like you take the time to actually learn like the background processes, and which, you know, you're a process oriented kind of guy, so that doesn't surprise me. But I think that's the thing, is like if you're really into spirits and things like that, taking the time to learn, you know, what is the production like why are certain things this way? What's the deal with the additives and things like that? And that's where like I learn a lot from you, because, you know, a lot of times you're watching some of the stuff on YouTube, and I'm just kind of hanging out in the background, and I'm like, oh, that's so interesting. Like that's stuff I would have never gone to learn myself or anything like that. So
Yep. So you learn through my hobby. That's so cool. That's so cool. But that's the thing about mezcal. So like and I'm trying to, in my way of trying to do, and like I said, so my goal is to go to restaurants, try different things, and then I explore them different. So my goal is, when I'm at that restaurant, is to first of all search for brands I haven't had before at that restaurant, which hopefully there's a couple different mezcals, because there's a couple brands I want to try.
Has there been one that you saw like in Instagram that you felt like, oh, I need to try that?
Well, the one, so Resperal's one, and Resperal's the one that Nerds and Burbs picked up from me through an auction or like a raffle, or I don't know how you say it, or what it is, but he picked one up for me that I gotta go pick up from him. That I think I'm gonna like, and then remember the Nettas that we were there last time. Remember we saw it at Imbibe in downtown Chattanooga. Yes. That was $300 for that bottle, and then they had it at Red Hot Liquors over in Cleveland. They had a different bottle, but like I didn't buy it because you
hadn't tasted it yet.
Yeah, but remember I tried 2 samples of mezcal at Red Hot Liquors, and they were both terrible.
Yeah,
they were both whole smoke. So that's why it's all just smoke, and so that's why it's like, for me, I think what I've really learned in this whole entire process, and my goal to see so I'm trying to tie this all together, and this is where my head's at. So I'm like thinking and talking at the same time here, but that's where that's the whole point of this podcast, right? And I think you're like a perfect example of why I have this podcast, and you probably don't even know it. But my goal is to introduce people to different things, right? Because I would
have never walked into a liquor store and be like, oh, what's mezcal about?
Even never. Me, 2 years ago, me neither. Yeah. I wouldn't even have looked at tequila 2 years ago either.
Yeah. And or rum, like 4 years ago.
4 years ago. Yeah, I would have never looked at rum, ever. Yeah. So I think that's the thing that I'm trying to get through with this podcast, and it's going to take time, and I get that, but it's introducing people to other things that they may not have tried. So whether it's tasting notes, whether it's experiences, whether it's history, whatever it is, right? Like my Coroni, right? I mean, that's like full of history. It's those pieces that I enjoy doing, like going to restaurants, trying different pours, finding different bottles, talking to bottle shop owners, all of, trying samples of things, all of those different things. I think I'm trying to take that and seeing your evolution with it too, because you try them with me sometimes too. I mean, you'd go to Mexico and go to Jalisco with me and go to a tequila tour, wouldn't you? And a tasting and everything.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. See, exactly. Right. Exactly.
Hell yeah, I would.
So that's why I'm saying, like, it's that whole journey, and like how much it's impacted my life, and the quality that goes into some of this stuff, and my experiences with it all. I'm trying to share that experience, I think, with everybody else as part of the podcast.
But then I'd also be like, okay, what cool beach can we go lay on?
In Mexico? Well, Jalisco's on the western coast of Mexico, so those are probably some of the better beaches, to be honest with you. Oh, gosh, you're going to make me plan that trip to Jalisco now, aren't you?
Compromise comes in and be like, all right, we can go to this distillery, but we also have to go rot on a beach for a day.
But I think you'd see it differently. I think if you traveled with me internationally, I think that your benefit from that would not be, hey, we're going to go to a beach to do what I want to do. I think the cultural impact, like the cultural recognition, like everything we learn culturally about that place, I think that's where you would take things away from it.
I'm down for that too. I like doing tours and things like that, and like learning about history, especially of, all different kinds of places.
Yep. The food, the architecture. Mm-hmm. Like if I think about my time in Portugal and Mexico and Munich and like Germany and Prague and stuff like that, like you and I bond through food and and drinks, I should say, not alcohol, but drinks, right? But I think we also bond through history and like architecture, antiques, like all of those kind of things. And a lot of that stuff, I think you get a lot of that, the cultural aspects of that when you travel like that. So I think you'd like it.
One of these days I'll get my passport.
Yeah, I think you would like it. I think you'd like it. So... All right, we're at like 40 minutes into the podcast now, so I really appreciate.
Got any other questions?
I have 1,000 questions.
Let's
do one more. Why don't you ask me a question while I'm looking for one? I'm gonna see how ill prepared I am.
Oh, okay.
I have like 1,000 that ChatGPT recommended. I'm trying to find a good one.
What is your favorite aspect of hunting?
So like I always grew up, not to say grew up, but I always like doing yard sales and stuff like that and trying to find, it's the finding things. And that's why I like antique stuff, right? Because there's a lot of, when I go antiquing, there's a lot of memories, right? So like I'll listen to Jim and Lindsay at like the total, their podcast, Children of the 80s, right? Yeah. And I'll reflect on and I'll think about back when I was a kid, right? I think a lot of that stuff I find it was something my grandparents had or something I saw as a kid. So I think it's it's just the thrill of finding something that you are either looking for, something that brought back a memory, or something that, I think it's just those two things, like something you were looking for, or something that brought back a memory. I think that's the reason why.
I mean, every once in a while we'll go like into an antique store or into like a thrift store or something, and you'll like smell a specific smell, and you're oh my God, that takes me back to like third grade, or like, whatever. You'll just like, it'll kind of take you back. And I think that's sort of the same feeling, when you find something on the shelf that you've been like searching for. Yep.
Agreed. So I don't know if I have any other questions.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah, I'm like looking at my ChatGPT here and trying to see if there's anything actually, that's a good question. What do you think my next 2 years, or year to 2 years, are going to look like doing this?
I mean, hopefully you grow and I'm not saying.
No, I'm laughing because I don't think I'm like going to ever. That's grows. The thing. It's like,
no, I think as you get more guests and
I think that's the
sort
key.
of network with other people like you, make more contacts within the industry and things like that. I hope it grows. Like, I hope so too. I think this is fun. So I think you have fun doing it and it makes you happy. And all I want is for you to be happy.
Oh, you're so sweet. Aww. You're so sweet.
And I keep getting spoiled, so win-win.
True. Yeah, I think for me, like, if I think about it for like even us, so Liz has been helpful. Like, she did T-shirts for me. You need to do another round of T-shirts.
Yeah, I do.
Because I have T-shirts for you to put the logo on, and I know what logo I want, like the trimmed down logo.
Yeah.
So I know what logo I want. So we need to start making T-shirts again. But
send me the logo.
But she reps my hat. She's got hats that she reps for me. And yeah, I think for me, it's just like, I mean, I really appreciate your support. You've been nothing but supportive through this, and you don't ever tell me don't buy bottles or anything like that, because you at least know I'm responsible. So like, it helps.
Yeah,
that's me create content.
It'd be different if like, we weren't paying bills because you were buying bottles.
Yeah,
I'd be like, all right,
if I was irresponsible, you're
going to be selling some of those bottles. That's a different story.
No, but I think it'll be interesting to see, like how everything grows over the next like couple years, because it's been a year and a couple months now, because I bought it. I remember buying all this equipment at Prime Day back in July of last year, 23. So it's been a year and a couple months now doing podcasts. And now and don't forget too, I fell off the rocker back in February, where I didn't record a podcast from February to June or July, I think.
Yeah.
And now I've been doing it regularly every 2 weeks, where I didn't have a podcast recorded, and I'm panicking going into this weekend going, Liz, you're going to be on my podcast. And she's like, okay, that's cool. Yep. But yeah, I think for me, it's just my next step that I really want to try to do is try to like network more. So that's why I've been trying to do charity stuff more. So I don't know if I told you those cigars I bought, the Silent Hero cigars.
I think you did tell me.
So a portion of every purchase that he makes goes to like a veteran like organization to help people, help veterans, which is really cool. The guy lives in Wyoming. He hand rolls and does all his cigars. Wow. And me and your Uncle Don had one out on the front porch 2 weeks ago now, I think. 2 weeks ago. And they were both, he loved it. I had a puff of his. It was actually fantastic. Oh, so I don't know if I told you or not, but he's doing like a Christmas charity raffle where everything you donate, you buy a pack. He's gonna do like a three cigar pack, I think he said, and then a certain amount of the proceeds from that go to those charitable organizations. And I pinged him and said, hey, I'm gonna send over some hats for you if you want to include them in the charity raffle. So I forgot to do that Saturday, so I have to do that tomorrow probably at some point during the day to send those hats out to him. But that's what I want to do. Like I when I thought about this and in doing all this, I think for me, it's growth. For me, I think it's growth more focused on the community aspect, right? Yeah. And that's why I want to try. And this is the whole point of today.
Ever since I've known you, you've been a give back kind of guy. Like there's always been stuff that we always do the angel tree. Work. We've always done, if there's a Toys for Tots, if there's any time that there's been any sort of like volunteer event, you always sign up for it. And not only even in your own kids' lives, you've been a coach to them. That's a volunteer position. We've done, like investment things that are charity based. Not investment things, like where you give, what was that one organization? I forgot what it was called, but you would like send money. It was a few years ago. I'm trying to remember.
I don't remember what it is. Anyways, we'll have to. It'll come to you. It'll come to you. But I think that's the biggest thing of this whole entire thing is the community aspect of it, and that's why it's hard though because it takes two parties, right? And that's what I'm trying to learn. And we talked about this yesterday. Was I made so many contacts at Whiskey Riot a week ago now, and we talked a lot afterwards, and they got quiet. But I think it's on me to try to figure out regular recording times because I'm always respectful of other people's time. So they'd be like, when do you record? And I'm like, hey, whenever you're available. But that leaves it almost too wide open where you can't start to plan a time.
Always be like, I record, Tuesdays and Thursdays.
I'm available. Here's my calendar.
But if that doesn't work for you, let me know and I can be available on whatever day.
Agreed.
Way it's not so open-ended.
Yep. So that's the community. So for me, the community aspect, I think, is connecting with more people, doing it like this. And this is why I appreciate you coming on to see how I did with it. And I have all the setup to do everything virtually, so I could do it completely virtually. Yeah. But I think it's that part of it, getting to know individual people's stories, right? And everybody's going to have a different story, especially if I can connect people. Connecting them would be even cool too. But having somebody that talks about bourbon, having somebody that talks about tequila, somebody about rum, somebody about...
It's going to resonate with different
exactly. To tell more of a story.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. And I think it'll introduce everybody to different things and their story behind those different things. So we have our story with how we evolved together as a couple, but then, through the podcast and everything else as well. But I think it's also going to be the same thing about hearing other people's stories. So that's where I think it's where I want to go, where my plan would be is to create more of this community aspect through more of the interview stuff, but then also keep the educational stuff because I've heard really good positive feedback about the educational stuff.
A lot of people aren't going to take the time to go and learn that kind of stuff. So if they're already listening to a podcast and the podcast explains it, they're going to be like, oh, wow, I didn't know that.
Mm-hmm. I mean, just think about it. You learned about people dying and you figured out how to murder people properly without getting caught.
Yep. if he ever goes radio silent one day...
If the podcast ever dies, check on me, make sure I'm good. So
just reach out just to be sure.
Well, thank you for coming on. I appreciate it. I think we're almost at an hour or so. So I appreciate you coming on and being part of the podcast. Do you want to do this again sometime?
Sure.
Amateur tasting notes. We'll have to figure out what to pour.
Yeah.
We can do blinds. Ooh, we can have you on with blinds. Gosh. And we do tequila.
Okay.
And you can do blind. We'll have 4 blinds. You can pick your favorite one.
Try to burn my throat.
You haven't done a blind yet, though, have you?
I have not done a blind ever.
And see, that's where I think you would really appreciate having 4 small pours of something. It's tequila's low proof, so it's not going to burn. And then trying different and seeing how different every single one is.
Yeah.
And then ranking them.
Just don't give me the chicken one again.
Oh, the Pachuga was great. Liz didn't like the Pachuga. It was really good. That mezcal's great. It's fantastic. So
I'm glad you like it.
Well, thank you, Liz, for coming on.
Absolutely.
We're not doing Dram Digest today because this is a special episode because I don't know if we'd be doing Dram Digest with other people. Oh, why are you looking at me? You don't even know what the Dram Digest is? That was the one I had that new recording for.
No, I remember what it is, but I'm I'm blanking.
It's when I go over all the pours I've had since the last podcast.
Oh, that's right.
And I got that cool little intro in between and everything.
Gotcha.
The jazzy feel.
The jazzy feel.
The jazzy feel. So, But no, thanks for coming on.
Yep.
And thanks, guys, all for listening. I think we're going to wrap this episode up. I hope you guys liked it. Let me know. I think I need to work on better thought-provoking questions, and I think I can. You're a little bit of an open book because you don't have anything specific. You're not a bourbon lover, a tequila lover, or a rum lover, or a mezcal, so I can't ask you specific things about that. So I think my goal from all of this experience and trying this out with you is really challenging to write down really thought-provoking questions that when somebody listens to the podcast, they take something away about that individual's experience, and then they either feel closer connected to that individual, what they're doing maybe, or they are inspired to try something that they may not have tried before. So our inspiration is going to restaurants, exploring, trying new things. That's and so when you're at a restaurant and you haven't had a mixed drink before that you've never had, try a new mixed drink.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's important. Like if you're not like super into the spirits, even if like, maybe you're a woman out there and it's your husband who's really into it, still try things because you never know what you're going to actually end up liking.
Yep.
So that's my advice.
An old fashioned with different bourbons in it or rye whiskeys can taste all completely different. So even those people that are like,
"Oh, I don't like an old fashioned." Well,
try it with something
different. Yeah.
Yep, exactly. So, thanks for coming on.
Me.
I appreciate it. Yep. All right, we're going to wrap up this episode of the Dram Amateur Podcast. Thank you guys all so much for listening. I certainly appreciate it. We'll see you in a few weeks. Cheers. Until next time, enjoy all the pours that you try. Thanks all. Thank you for tuning into the Dram Amateur Podcast. I hope you enjoyed our deep dive into the world of spirits. Don't forget to subscribe and leave a review. I certainly appreciate all the feedback and support. Stay tuned for more exciting episodes as we continue our exploration of bourbon, whiskey, rum, tequila, mezcal, and beyond. Cheers, and until next time, keep savoring every sip.